Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Lovely to meet you here again, and once again, welcome to my pad. I have looked at your images long and hard. I've examined every detail of what you've done, and I am truly astonished. I thought I'd set you something terrifically hard, and actually, you've taken it in your stride. There are things to learn from every single image. Now, I judged a competition last week, I may have told some of you, and I spent a long time pointing out to the entry class the perfection of the advanced class images so that they could learn from them. The point of which is that in your images today, I believe sincerely that there is something to learn from every single image. We can learn from each other. And that's the whole point of it. Now, it wasn't easy, and I never said it was easy. In fact, what I have said is that nothing worth doing is easy. But you did it. Fantastic. So well done. Let's get on. Let's cut to the chase. I'll see you on the screen.
Bill number 1. Well, Bill's addressed the subject very well. He's found some shiny metal. And notice, please, the lighting that he has used. I will be referring to the lighting later in other images. Notice there are no sharp shadows. So he's achieved a very, very pleasing diffuse lighting. The shiny metal is beautifully rendered. There are no specular reflections, but there are highlights, and I'm looking at particularly the egg cup and the roundness of the bowl of the egg cup shown beautifully there in this diffuse lighting. Similarly on the sugar bowl and the milk jug, terrifically round image. So I think that's really achieved things very, very well indeed. So well done, Bill. Bill number 2, when we went to the church that we couldn't get into, he spotted this door handle, and that's terrific. Shiny metal with no specular highlights. He's adjusted his photoshopping technique so as to take down the brightness of the image and give us a very, very well composed image. Look where the handle is. It's not slap in the middle. It's on the third from the left to the right. It's very, very well paired with the dull metal on the right hand lower third. So another very well seen image, well taken, sharp where it should be, and interesting. That tells me a story. Very well done, Bill. Now, where the shiny metal is in Bill 3, I have yet to discover. Nonetheless, it's a lovely picture, I think they told me to say. However, where's the horizon? Let's learn something from this. There is, excuse me, a very diffuse, soft lighting, ideal for portraiture. On this occasion, Bill has chosen to do landscape. Where's the horizon? Would it be perhaps of any interest to us at all looking at the sky at the top, or should we crop that out? Should we crop out most of the water down below, giving us a letterbox composition? I think that will be a better photo of a landscape, but I'm struggling to see any shiny metal. Thanks, Bill. Brenda 1. Well, your weekend cutlery, how nice. Beautifully taken. Very, very good highlights which aren't burned out. I like that a lot. There are several things to learn, but look, ladies and gentlemen, at the composition that Brenda has used. She's cropped it. We have here what's called a letterbox composition or format, and the knife and the two forks make a very pleasing image. How can we improve on it? Well, it's difficult to improve on such a good photo, so well done, Brenda. I like that a lot. Brenda 2. We have this metal plaque, it looks like, or mirrored plaque. And Brenda has very adequately chosen good lighting so that we're avoiding specular highlights. Although those are, I think, mirror segments, they are particularly well rendered and are very much like the point of view. However, look at the right hand side of the plaque, and she's sliced off a piece of that. Always look around your image, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure that you haven't sliced off a piece of the subject. Similarly, my eye is distracted by the whitish greyish triangle in the top right hand corner. So I think that's very well achieved. It was a difficult challenge and it's been well addressed. Well done, Brenda. Oh, before we move on, look, ladies and gentlemen, at the depth of field. The plates nearest us, the part of the plates nearest us, is very, very close to being in focus. It then becomes pin sharp all the way back to the very farthest part. Now, we need to learn from this. If you are taking an image of a subject such as this, the point closest to you needs to be pin sharp. If it's not, the judge will notice. So it's a good one. Homework, Brenda. Do it again, please. Very good. Brenda 3. The clock. Beautifully taken. Again, soft lighting. We're very nearly going into the realms of specular highlight, burned out in the top left-hand corner and surround of the clock face. We have a reflection in the glass of the windows behind, so we can guess that it was a bright sunny day, but Brenda has taken this indoors where the light is somehow diffused. So that's a good technique, a very good technique. I like that. Well done, Brenda. Diana 1, terrific. Love it. Who on earth would think of taking a photo of 3 knives? Well, Diana did, and she did jolly well too. I like that a lot. Notice, ladies and gentlemen, the depth of field. The handles closest to us are pin sharp. They remain pin sharp until we get to the very end of the blade when they become a little soft, and that's fine with me. Notice also that your eye is led in from the handle that's nearest you up to the top left hand corner. Further, that the light that Diana has chosen is diffused such that we're not getting specular highlights. That's very well done. If I were to say, has Diana achieved the objective? She certainly has. Very, very nice moulding on the handle, beautifully rendered picture, an interesting picture. Diana 2. This must be the most difficult thing to take a photo of. All that curly metallic tape. And yet, Diana has retained the highlights. They're not burned out. They're dangerously close on being burned out. We have a little reflection of a hand in the right hand side, which is interesting. And if you look around at the tape, you'll see other reflections of parts of the surrounding, but it gives a very pleasing three-dimensionality to the image. It's very well seen. It's perhaps a learning point that we've chopped off the top, and perhaps it might be better to have retained that if you had it in the image. But I think that's very well seen. It's sharp throughout. There aren't any serious burned out regions, and I think we're getting there. Well done, Diana. Diana 3. Why are they upside down? Don't know. Very well done, and I'm tempted, seriously tempted to say that's a cracking good photo. Are they lying on their side, facing towards you? You've somehow positioned the camera above. We can see some reflection of the room behind us in the black parts of the cans at the bottom. The lighting, ladies and gentlemen, is suitably diffused. There's no bright highlights, and even the brightest part on the right hand side is not burned out. So much detail has been retained that they can actually read the date on the picture on the can. So well done, Diana. Very well thought of, very well composed. I love the fact there are 3, the magic number, and they are beautifully taken. Well done. Doreen. Now, I struggled over this one. I do not know what it is at all. But whatever it is lit softly. We have this strange, almost halo, this rainbow halo, almost as if it's a stone or a rock sitting in oil, in water. How you've achieved those strange shadows is remarkable. That's really very, very intriguing. And I think as a judge, I'm going to give you an extra mark for giving me an intriguing photo. You know, there's 3 things to impress a judge. 1 is to give him an intriguing photo. 1 is to give him a photo that tells a story. And 1 is to give him a story that makes him laugh. So, well done. I like it and I'm intrigued by it. Please tell me what it is. I have no idea. Doreen 2, the gold-coloured candelabra base. Very well seen, very well exposed. Not something that many of us will have seen. We'll have walked past these many times and not actually noticed them. The leaf moulding, the handles as they are, the branches going out through the side of the photo. Very well lit. It's almost in focus at the base, but notice, ladies and gentlemen, that what is in focus is the reflection of the bowls, the light bulbs inside their glass housings. They are in focus. So what has your camera done? Your camera has focused. It has decided to focus on the reflection of the light bulbs behind the photographer. So well done, well seen, well taken, and well lit, Doreen. Yes, I like that. You've achieved the objective. No burned out highlights, no specular highlights, and it's softly lit. Well done. Doreen 3, again, look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Notice the 3-dimensionality. The fact that it's quite bright on the right, quite dark on the left, giving us a sense of roundness. It's obliquely lit, it's not lit straight on, and because it's obliquely lit, the flower is casting a shadow, giving us the 3-dimensionality. Again, softly lit, beautifully seen. How could we have improved it? Could we have put the flower on the 3rd rather than in the middle? Very nicely taken. I like that. Well done, well seen, well focused. Jeff. Now, ladies and gentlemen, although Jeff has struggled, he has succeeded in getting no specular highlights. There's a little bit of brightness around the rim of the clock, but we can live with that. But notice also that he has chosen to take this photo in diffused light. No bright sunlight, and that's the trick. So he's achieved something real, and we can learn from that. So well done, Jeff. Good try. Similarly, in this case, in Jeff's image number 2, notice how he has put some paper behind the rose in its vase to give us a very pleasant backdrop. So well done, Jeff. I think you've achieved something there. The vase itself has that small highlight on it, which you have to watch, and I'm going to guess that that's the reflection of the window behind you. But nonetheless, it doesn't seem too burned out, and I think it's well seen. Now, in your Picasso, what you've now got to do is crop off the right-hand side and just straighten it up a little bit, because it's ever so slightly leaning over, but it's well seen, it's well positioned, and I think we can learn from that, ladies and gentlemen, that a piece of paper held behind the subject would give us a suitable plane background. There's one other item I've spotted which we can all take notice of, and that is in the top left hand corner we have what's called a dust bunny. So Jeff, you need your sensor cleaned, and I'll tell you how to do that later. Jeff 3, ladies and gentlemen, notice again the soft lighting, the way that Jeff has put a piece of paper behind. There are no hard shadows, so it's a very diffuse, soft light which has enabled him to try to take a photo of this bowling trophy. The depth of field is very, very shallow, as you'll see by the fact that the bowler's feet are sharp, but his arms and head and torso are soft, as is the plinth on which he stands. So you should know, and you do know, because I've taught you, how to increase your depth of field. It does have to be a compromise, but nonetheless, and I'm sure Jeff is going to be the first one to tell us that choosing a small aperture, large number, like f22, would increase the depth of field. Well seen though, Jeff, well lit, good attempt. Now this is Iris's resubmission of the photo from last time, when she took, do you remember the scene through this antique glass, which is the lower of these two pictures, and was very, very well seen. I like that photo, but I like it even better now she's gone back. I'm looking through the bubbly glass, through at the distorted view beyond. We have those highlights on the third on the right hand side. We have almost a doorstop of something red on the left hand side. We have an intriguing photo here, and what I've said to you earlier, if you can intrigue the judge, you're doing well. So I love it. Now notice, ladies and gentlemen, that Iris has put a grey border around it. It's very thin, almost, well, I say on my screen a couple of millimeters wide, top, bottom, left and right, and it just holds that image in. If you know how to do that on your photo processing software, then learn from that trick. It's very well seen, and I could almost ask everyone to go to a pub and look for a bobbly window and see what they see through it, because that's such a good image. I'm impressed with that one. You could take 6 of those and they'd all be different. In fact, we could take 12 of them and they'd all be different, and they'd be darn good too. Well done, Iris. Iris 2. Now look at what Iris has done here, how she's used soft lighting. The shadow of the boot is very soft. Iris has taken some paper or some card and bent it up against the wall onto the table and positioned the boot so that we can photograph it, so that she can photograph it. She's chosen such an aperture, and you will remember what I said, a small aperture, small hole, large number. So f22, so that the whole thing is in focus, from the sole of the boot up to the very top of the bowl. Everything's in focus, but the paper behind isn't in focus, and that's exactly what we want. Now how about positioning, ladies and gentlemen? Where should Iris have put it? I'm sure that Mo's going to interject in a moment, but I'll stop him from doing it because I'll leave it to you to decide. Very well taken, very well lit, and a very appropriate aperture, f22. Of course, the payback, the compromise, is that if you have such a small aperture, you're going to have a long exposure. I don't know what it is. If I look at the EXIF data, a 15th of a second is my guess, and she put it on a tripod. Did you all use tripods? Of course you did. Well done, Iris. I like it. Iris 3. A different tone to this picture. Look at the way it's sepia tone, this creamy colour, almost tea stained, not stained, tea coloured, and it gives a certain ageless, timeless quality to the image. I love this one. The crystal balls in the baskets on the donkey don't have specular highlights, but they do have highlights which give us that three-dimensionality. I'm going to guess these are glass facets that reflects the surrounding light, maybe from a window, and it beautifully shows the roundness of those glass spheres. Once again, the card at the back, the soft lighting as betrayed by the shadow, and the sepia toning make that a very appealing image. But where is the subject, and where should it be? I'll leave it to your discretion. Well done, Iris. Janet 1. Wonderful. Great. What has Janet got here? Quite soft sky lighting. So no real harsh shadows. So she's gone out and found a motorbike. Maybe it's hers. I can picture this is Janet's motorbike. She's just jumped off it. She's got her leathers on. She's grabbed her camera and seen the reflection in the exhaust pipe. Yes, very well seen. No specular highlights. The danger is always getting a burnout on the bright shiny metal, and it's not burned out. It's very well taken. But notice particularly the spring on the top left hand side and the damper within it. That's a very, very interesting part of this photo. So whilst I like the photo as it is, I think my interest is taken by the spring and the damper on the left hand side, and perhaps I would say less is more. So your homework, Janet, go back, get your leathers on, jump on your motorbike, go somewhere where the light is suitably soft, and focus in on that damper and its spring. I think that's got a lot of potential. Strange, but there you go. It's very well done, very well seen. Good girl. Similarly, Janet has decided to find someone with a, I don't know what sign that is, Jaguar? Well, it's not Daimler. A Mercedes. Daimler. My advisor tells me it's a Daimler, and it's very well taken. Again, soft lighting. Soft lighting really is the trick to this. Look at the nut in the centre of the wheel. Notice how the shadows are coming through there and giving us that three-dimensionality. I love it. Really good. What would a judge say? Would a judge say, where should the centre of your interest be? Perhaps he would. Would a judge say, why did you chop off the edges of the wheel, left and right? Maybe it's just too awkward. Maybe it just didn't fit in the frame. Maybe it brought other things into the frame. Look at the shadow of the nuts. Are they real nuts or are they pseudo nuts around the rim of the wheel? And the way that the shadows are giving us real sense of depth. I think that's achieved a lot, and no specular highlights. What's the secret? Soft lighting. Well done, Janet. Like that. Janet 3. Well, I said if you give the judge an image which intrigues him, you'll get an extra mark. I do not know what this is. At one time I thought it was some jewellery. At one time I thought it was maybe a hand lens. Another time I think it's a water tap. I have no idea what that is, but it's beautifully lit and very well seen. And notice, ladies and gentlemen, the handle is coming from the bottom left hand corner. If you have a leading line, bring it in from the corner. So what have we got here? We've got an intriguing photo, 1 extra mark from the judge. You've got a leading line, an extra mark from the judge. And there are no specular highlights. There are highlights, but it's giving me a three-dimensionality on the, let me call it the jewel, the centre, the rose in the centre there. I like that. I'm not too certain about the sepia toning. It gives it a timelessness, but I feel I'd like to see it in perhaps in just black and white, just monochrome. It is monochromatic, but sepia monochromatic to my eye, at least on my screen. So I like it, but your homework is go back and do it again, please, because I think that's great. Yeah, good one. Mo 1, cufflinks. Ladies and gentlemen, what has Mo learned from last time? Look at that starburst. Wow. Now there are several ways to get a starburst. One is to use an old-fashioned filter. That is to say, you actually put a filter on the lens of the camera and any little pinpoints will be turned into starbursts. But thankfully enough, I don't think he did that, because there would be others. The other way of doing it, of course, is to close down your aperture down as far as it will go, f22, even on some lenses f32, and you will get a starburst from the highlights in the image. The third way of doing it is in software. Now I know that Suzanne loves software, and she'd be anxious to get a starburst such as that, and I'll leave Suzanne to talk to Mo about how he really did it. It's a very well lit photograph. Notice please where he has put the cufflinks. You see a shiny black tile, I think it is, that he's put these cufflinks on, so we're getting that reflection. Very, very intriguing. I like that a lot. I think a judge would like that. Well, I do. Well done. Starburst. Now I think that this is perhaps from the series that Mo did for the last challenge. And it worked. And the starburst is stopping me from feeling that there are specular highlights. So the starburst is adding to the photo. The starburst itself is very nearly on the third. It's almost a vertical letterbox. And the glass itself is showing up beautifully. Quite well lit. Not too certain about the saturation of the colours here. Is it a bit washed out in the glass of the whatever it is, shampoo or eau de cologne or heaven knows what, aftershave? Not too certain about the choice of that sort of reddish backdrop, and it looks like there's a line across almost the middle between where the backdrop meets the bench. Perhaps that could have been a curved piece of card, but I think we've got something to learn from that. And look at the way it's been composed, that vertical letterbox. It certainly gets us interested. And it could be an advert, couldn't it, for aftershave or eau de cologne or whatever he uses. Well done, Mo. Now this is a stunning image. Love it. Really, really retained the three-dimensionality of these discs. And it's a letterbox. So he's actually taken his cropping tool using Picasa or Photoshop or scissors, cut the photo down to concentrate our attention. He's got 3 discs, the magic number as far as photographs are concerned. An odd number is always good, and 3 is the best one. Well done, Mo. I like that a lot. Ray 1. Now here again, Ray has attempted to take these shiny metal objects. However, he has achieved no specular highlights on the right-hand one, but the one at the back is showing me a very bright highlight. It is burned out, and so any judge will pick up on that. Whilst the one in front of the camera, the closest one, seems to me to be very dark. It's almost as if a shadow is being cast across the bench top. Now we can learn 2 things from this. Perhaps the day when this was taken was a little bright and sunny, and a net curtain or some card to cut out the strong sunlight and reflect some light back in from the other side. But there is something else to learn from it as well. Look how well rendered the wallpaper is behind, and we'd really like some space between the 3 objects, the Magic 3, and the wallpaper behind. If you can bring those a foot further forwards, or to modern people like us, 30 centimetres, that would have been out of focus. Maybe some card leaning against the wall, bending gently onto the bench surface, and then these three goblets or candlesticks or whatever they are on that card would have been even better. But we're certainly getting there, Ray, so well done. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, what would we say? Well, there are no specular highlights. There is a desk lamp, the reflection of which I can see in the foot of this candlestick. It seems to be what we call mixed lighting. That is to say, there is some daylight, and much softer daylight than previously. There is a desk lamp, which is giving us a rather pleasant glow to this candlestick. And once again, it would have been improved if we'd had a card against the wall. Beautiful picture of the wallpaper, but really we want our attention focused on the candlestick. So a good attempt, Ray. I like the mixed lighting. It's giving me a wonderful three-dimensionality on the stem of the candlestick. So I think we're getting there. Yep, well done, Ray. Ray 3. Looks like some sort of latch on a door with this brass handle which has become decayed, and it's really rather intriguing. I like that. Perhaps my eye is taken in to wondering what's happening here. Is it on a door? Is it on a suitcase? Is it on a chest? Perhaps drawing the camera back a wee bit, showing me just a tad more of the background of where it is, what it's doing, telling me a story about this, and positioning the handle perhaps in the top right hand quarter of the image. I like that. That's well seen. I think there's a lot of mileage in that one, a lot of potential. Yeah, well done, Ray. Suzanne. Now, who on earth would have thought to go to Morrison's and take pictures of their trolleys? Well, Suzanne did, and well done to you, Suzanne, for doing it. Beautifully diffuse light. She hasn't gone out on a bright sunny day. She's gone on a softly lit day, and she's achieved the objective. Where are our eyes taken? Are we taken in where those wheels and structures are, up to the top middle side? Or are we taken in from the top left down and then up to the right again? That's really an intriguing photo. I love the leading lines concept there, and I think there's lots and lots of mileage. We could almost ask Suzanne to do a project on Tesco's trolleys, because I'm sure she would do darn well. That's well done. I like that, Suzanne. Well seen. Not all of us would ever think of taking photos of Morrison's trolleys, but you did. Well done. Yeah, I like it. Terrific. Suzanne 2. That's intriguing. And that's actually got my interest. Is it a musical instrument? Look how focused it is on the top right-hand corner. Just follow those circles down to the left, and you'll see it's a little softer down there. That's fine with me. It's almost giving me a leading line from the bottom left-hand corner up to the top right. This diagonal composition. It's a very strong composition, Suzanne, and I think you're onto a winner there. Again, I'm wondering whether it's a little busy, and I'm wondering whether with your super camera skills you could actually take us in to show us less, which would mean more. So I think here less is more. But I like that. It's well seen. No specular highlights. It's not burned out. Most of it is sharp, and yet what is not sharp, that just softness in the bottom left hand side, is actually helping me. Not worried about that. I rather like that. Yeah, good. Well done. Suzanne 3. A scourer, I guess. I don't know. Is it one of those metal pot scrubbers? Don't know. But what an intriguing thing. Is it a creature? Is it the creature from the deep? Has it swum into your camera's vision? Is it coming in with the sounds of something ominous? Well, it certainly got me interested. and I think there's no specular highlights, but I'm not sure where to look. Am I looking at the hole in the middle? I can see a face. I see a sort of a rhino's horn and an eye and a mouth and an ear. What on earth is it? Do please tell me. I have no idea. Well, that one makes me laugh, so you get the point for making me laugh. So, well done. I like that, Suzanne. Terry 1, bright and shiny metal. Love it. Yep. Soft lighting, no specular highlights, and it's retained all of the detail from the very closest to the very furthest part of the wheel. So, ladies and gentlemen, small aperture, large number, deep depth of field. My eye is distracted a little by the yellow in the top right hand corner. It's not troubling me an awful lot, but it's worth, perhaps if you have the software, just to knock that back a little bit. You know what I said before, a vignette on it, just take that down a little bit. Well seen, well taken, well lit. Terry 2, beautifully seen, not easy circumstances. What has your camera focused on? Well, it's remarkably sharp in the near distance, the actual lantern and its lamp holder itself, which is beautifully rendered. The blue wall behind it is very, very slightly soft, which I like, but the scenery reflected in the lampshade looks to be sharp. I like that a lot. Yes, I do. Very well seen, and I think we can learn a lot from that. Is it in the shade, the actual item itself? Maybe down at the cockle sheds in Lee, somewhere like that, or some town where the sun was actually shining on the town behind us, but this object was in the shadow. So yes, very good indeed. I like the tonal range. I like that blue as a backdrop. I very much like the reflection in this brass lantern, and I think that's a winner. Good one, Terry. Terry's second car. Beautifully taken. I like the light, and I particularly like the aperture that Terry has chosen. So most of the flying lady, whatever she's called, is actually pin sharp, but the brick wall behind is suitably out of focus. And if we just follow across the bonnet of Terry's second best car, we'll notice that it gets softer and softer as we go further back into the image, and then we reach the wall, which is totally soft. I like that. That's very well chosen. Ladies and gentlemen, you should know what the aperture was that he's chosen. Was it f22? No, it wasn't. Was it f3.5? I suspect it's nearer that. And that's given us a shallow depth of field, but deep enough that the whole of the flying lady is in focus, but it's rapidly going out of focus as we go away from it. It's on the third. It's giving her some distance to jump into, to fly into. I think that's very well taken indeed. Maybe I made this challenge too easy for you, Terry, did I? Because they are cracking good images. Well done, Terry. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. That's my thoughts upon your images, and I think you did very well. I thought I was giving you something hard. By golly, you made it easy. You certainly made it easy for me to critique them, and I've enjoyed looking at them. And thanks again to Mo for putting them all together. So 3 cheers for Mo, and I'll see you on the next clip.
Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. He's blowing his nose. I can edit this.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, what about that? They were fantastic. I am so impressed. I cannot tell you. Now, the prize winner this week is, wait for it, drum roll. I'll tell you when we meet at the Sunny Army. Anyway, well done, everyone.